The next lesson with the quarterstaff is about the half-staff. This means two things. First, the position when we enclose with our opponent and the weapons meet at half-staff. So like in broadsword, the half-sword as a position of the crossed blades. But it is also a variation of the grip, which can be used even in longer distance. According to Wild, you grip the staff shorter and leave the rear end out for around a quarter. So similar to the butt of a musket. Other authors do use a leveled grip with two ends having the same length, so the staff is gripped kind of centered. When we look at late 19th century quarterstaff as a combat sport, we see a lot of this grip as a general position. Mostly the staff is gripped quite centered, but this will not be the topic for this video. Wild describes this too as a direct block, what he calls the level guard, but he points out that he does not like it very much, as it might defend your head from a direct blow to the head, but your hands are not very safe. You can use half-staff very swift and fluid. You can easier control the staff and change its directions faster than in the long grip. Of course, you are in closer distance, therefore you must be quick on your feet, use a traverse, and small, quick but sharp strikes and thrusts. When you enclose, you can use quick thrusts called darts, and also strikes with a butt end, just like with a boxing hook. It's a similar motion. Wild writes about it as follows. Here you can see how Wild explains how to come into half-staff position. But I admit that this is a very artificial situation. It is much more natural to react to the enclosing of your opponent if he tries to push your staff into your guard, and then you might turn your staff into half-staff and enclose a bit more. Another way is to use the half-staff grip when you parry. Especially against an attack with a long grip, you can take away the pressure, step to your inside with a traverse, and turn this into a riposte using the force of your opponent's attack against him. You can do a counter cut or even a strike with a dart, so with a butt end. The same works also against an attack from the outside guard, when you stand in an inside guard in a half-staff grip position. However, your hands are always a bit in danger. Against a thrust to the body or face it works also quite well, but take care to have a secure parry to not fall for a feint or rushing into the thrust too soon. Of course, this works also against the thrust from the outside guard. So when the opponent is disengaging under your staff and tries to thrust from an outside guard in your face in an inside guard position. Or when he thrusts from an inside guard disengaging and tries to thrust in an outside guard position, you can also use the half-staff, but in a kind of a little bit different way. The half-staff works of course very good when you close the distance. This might be because both fighters engage to enclose, or if one side steps into the attack much more than the other one. Then all the close quarter use of both staff ends, so the longer one and the shorter butt, can be used quite similar to bayonet fencing. So you can use butt strikes, darts or thrusts, pushing motions and so forth. As we talked about in a previous lesson, if your opponent tries to push your staff out of the way, then you can take this force with your own motion, enclose and do counterattacks with half-staff techniques. The same works the other way around. So if you push your opponent to the side and he reacts with maybe a too big motion to counter-strike, then you can use your short half-staff grip to parry this counter-attack and do a close quarter technique with the staff. If both fighters are in half-staff grip, then of course you can use your regular technique like slipping to avoid a quick attack to your hand. And then instead of doing a counter attack with the long end of your staff, you can just use the short end. Or you use both ends. So first a strike with the long end and then a butt strike. And of course you can try to enclose very aggressively. So you do several follow-up strikes with a long end followed by a strike or thrust with a short end and so on and so on. But keep in mind when you create forward pressure that you are ready to fly out again into proper distance, or if necessary, because these are staffs, that you are ready to do some wrestling techniques or other close quarter combat techniques. And also keep in mind that your opponent can do just the same. Other period authors also describe the half-staff, middle guard or center grip, sometimes in kind of a St. George's guard position. Here we see this in the manuscript of James Miller. Archibald MacGregor wrote, "He may grip it by the middle and ward off a blow with either end of it." And further on he writes, "If a stroke be discharged for the head, it is warded off by seizing the staff near to both ends, with the two hands stooping a little and forming a good defense across the head." He also gives advice of winding it like the figure 8 by catching it in the middle. Famous Donald McBain also described the half-staff as a fluid motion to switch your grip alongside the staff to shorten your grip and coming back to a long grip again. Generally speaking, the half-staff as a hand position can be used quite versatile in combat. Binding and enclosing with it does not happen too often, but it is very useful as soon as the distance is closer than expected. So thanks for watching and see you in the next lesson video.